We are a mere 11 days away from Florida State football, but just minutes away here from analysis from Jason Parker and Logan Robinson right here on Florida State Seminoles Live. We come your way each and every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, although make a scheduling note, the next week will be at 6 o'clock Eastern time, so let's stay updated on that. But every Tuesday night, here we are with these two fine, top-of-the-line analysts, Logan Robinson, Noel Game Day, and again, Jason Parker, NBC6. How you boys doing?
I mean, I'm a little flattered that you said 3 fines. I mean, that's the nicest thing someone said about me today, so thank you.
It's my version of the shout-out.
That was better than any happy birthday I got today, so that was nice for the 3 fines. I appreciate it.
And you look great as always. I mean, I have to tell you that you look great. Even if we have our arguments about Willie Taggart and Jimbo Fisher, still before the end of every show, I still say that I love you and you look great.
Shout out to Popeyes. That was my birthday meal tonight. Like, would you expect anything else? Zaxby's.
We gotta stop this. We need to start erasing. I'm gonna erase this Zaxby's thing off here so they don't get any free sponsorships.
I'm gonna keep the Popeyes up here because it's delicious.
Even at the advanced age that Jason is, which fill in the blank, we should probably run this in the live chat. We'll have people guess your age.
Now, do they want to guess by age or guess by hairline? Because that might throw some people off there. I will not say the exact age, but I will say that I'm no longer in the mid-30s. I'm now in my late 30s. I'm right in that. Kind of.
I don't know what I consider that. You can kind of divide the earlies as 30, 31, 32, 33, and the mids are more like 34, 35, and 36. 37 is kind of a wild card year. You could go mids and you can go late on the 37. All right, everybody, give us your next week will be your record projection on Florida State and your prediction on the Georgia Tech game because we'll be just days away from football. So we'll go record projection and Georgia Tech final score next week. But for this week, it's JP's age. I can't wait to see these responses. Here we go. Seminoles Live 69.
SEC dog is going to sit here and say, "Oh, he's 75." Ha ha ha.
That's exactly who I had in mind when I threw that out there.
You're going to have all these idiots out of here. 37. Spoiler alert. 37.
Happy birthday, Jason.
Happy birthday, Jason.
I couldn't
do this without you.
I thought I'd just tell you in person.
We sang to Logan on his birthday. You guys are making fun of my age. I see how this is going to go today. All right.
Nobody has any idea when my birthday is. We don't need to get that out there. Okay.
We'll creep out one day. Whenever we come down for a game or we go to a game somewhere and we have a couple of drinks, I'm sure we'll be able to get it out of Mark.
Tight-lipped until I get a little loosened up. Okay. All right. James Blackman's been on campus at Florida State forever. Is he working on like a 10-year contract or something?
No.
Seems like forever.
It's just
that Alabama was beating him up.
It's just that he's played forever. It's not that he's been on campus forever. He's just played since his first ever game on campus. He got thrown into the fire as a freshman. Now for the 4th straight season, he will start a game for the Seminoles.
Yeah.
Mike Norvell and Kenny Dillingham naming him the starting quarterback for the Georgia Tech game. In the least shocking news of fall camp is that James Blackman will start. Logan, we've talked about this before. Was there really anyone that was going to compete with him?
No, I mean, we talked about, like you said, ton of it in the quarterback competition in that whole room, but there was not going to be, this wasn't a surprise whatsoever today. I think right off the bat, even when spring started and all that kind of jazz was going on, there was a lot of publicity for Blackman, and he was all over the social medias, and Florida State was promoting him a lot. So I think they already had a meeting very early on between Kenny Dillingham and Mike Norvell, and they said, well, this is your job to lose, and we're going to do everything we need to do to clean up your mechanics and actually coach you and try to improve a lot of things and try to figure out your mistakes that you've been having in your career, and try to figure out how to work with this offensive line that is still going to cause some problems this upcoming season. So today was no shocker at all. I guess it just took Jason's birthday for everything to come official, but that's just how it goes around here. But we picked a pretty good day to do a show, and there's tons of news. But James Blackman, I think, and a lot of fans are 50-50 on him, and that's understandable. I can agree with a lot of people's takes on it. But you just got to hope that there has been some improvements, not just physically, but also mentally. And he's kind of gotten better, and the way he's making his reads and the smarter throws, and kind of just getting better with his consistency, because that's been a struggle for him throughout his career. So I think Blackman, you will see an improved guy, but we'll just have to see here in a few weeks. As long as he gets all that kind of clutter stuff out of his head, things will be fine.
Yeah, I like the fact that this is the first time since, I'd say, 2017 that we knew for a fact who the starting quarterback was going to be before the game. I mean, we've talked all off season about, can Jordan Travis compete? Can Purdy compete? Obviously, he can't with a broken collarbone. Can Tate Rodemaker compete? Can all these guys come in and compete? I think the advantage James Blackman is going to have is that Georgia Tech comes in off a 3-9 record last season. This is a team that Florida State should beat. He should have a decent game against, and it will give him that chance to build momentum. My question is going to be, and we saw what happened last season. Let's say Florida State comes down here, loses to Miami, or let's say Florida State goes to South Bend, gets spanked by Notre Dame. Is he going to be able to keep that confidence? So that's what I want. I want him to be able to keep that confidence. And I think he's going into his redshirt junior year. I think by now, I'm going to be the positive guy. I'm going to say, yes, I think he'll have that confidence. I think he starts the entire season. I think Florida State will be just fine with him. Now, my biggest question, and you've been around there more around practices, Logan, Jordan Travis. I feel like Jordan Travis, obviously, he transferred from Louisville. He's from West Palm Beach. I feel like he's just fallen off the map. Like, what has happened with him?
There's been some. I was going to bring it up too. There's been some speculation that he is nursing an injury right now. There's some rumors that he really hasn't had a chance to compete in the scrimmages either, too. So that already causes concern for Jordan Travis. And you were hoping, I think the staff too was actually really hoping, and it's still not over yet. But they were hoping too that they'd be able to implement him into some of the offense for some kind of packages here and there, not like how it was between Hornibrook and Blackman last year, which was a complete disaster, but actually utilizing the talent that you have, because he does have a very unique talent, and you want to take advantage of that. But the main thing is, he is trying to recover from an injury. I know that staff and Florida State has been kind of quiet about it, but leaks are leaks, and that's something that he's having to deal with. So right now, which creates a very more concerning. I don't even want to. I mean, we cover Florida State, so we have to talk about it, but your backup quarterback right now is a true freshman quarterback with Tate Rodemaker, who probably would have ended up being your third guy behind Chubba Purdy or behind Jordan Travis too. So you're kind of looking at your third or fourth quarterback option if things were to go down a bad route for Blackman. Fingers crossed and knock on wood over here that Blackman is going to stay healthy, but that's kind of a concern heading into this season. That is probably going to be the number one concern. It's not talked about a lot right now because this whole season is weird, and we're now today is like, well, we're actually going to be playing football next Saturday. It's nobody's really talking about it enough. Florida State's backup quarterback right now, because Jordan Travis and Purdy are healing from their injuries, is a true freshman quarterback that,
I've got three things. First of all, I would think anything that Logan would be knocking on in that apartment of his would be like 10 in any direction would be like a beer can. So I think it would be impossible for you to knock on wood there. The other thing is, yes, I believe Jason was acknowledging that Joseph Hardaway here has correctly determined his age. Was that correct?
I said it 5 minutes ago. I said I'm 37. But yes,
Yes,
Joseph,
you ruined the contest. You ruined the live chat contest. Okay.
I did want people saying, oh, he's in his 50s, oh, he's in AARP.
Well, that's part of the fun. That's part of the fun. Come on. Somebody said that you act like you're 61. Now, I was thinking the exact opposite. You act like you're like 13, and you might be another age. I was going the other direction on that.
So one person has AARP, one person has bar mitzvah. Okay, I got it.
And then finally, my other third point was you in breaking down James Blackman, you were questioning, Jason, his confidence. Is there a reason we should be questioning his confidence?
You could tell last season, I think, and Logan can back me up a little bit on this one. You had that 3-game stretch to start the season where there was the second half letdown, and obviously the defense was the reason why they lost the games to Boise State and why they lost the game to Virginia. And then there was the near meltdown in game 2 against Louisiana Monroe. So you could just see that you just had the feelings like there was only so much confidence that he had at the start of the season. And you could just see it starting to chip away. And then Alex Hornibrook comes in. He gets named the starter for a couple of games. You just you could sense from watching it like he wasn't fully the same James Blackman you saw in 2017. That James Blackman came in with the confidence. And I was going to say to Logan right there, you worry about a freshman coming in and being the backup. Remember, James Blackman was the backup in 2017, and he was the quarterback for the team that Odell Higgins led to a bowl game. So, I mean, it could happen if, God forbid, something happens to James Blackman. And the way to see if Logan realizes what I said there.
I do think, too, he does have some confidence things that he has had to work on. We saw it in the Virginia game. That's one that pops out to me as whenever out of nowhere, he just kind of looked lost at sometimes, and he lost some kind of his consistency, and he was making throws that he's got a strong arm, but he was short throwing a lot of things. And that's just not James Blackman. He just wasn't there mentally for that game. And it costed them quite a bit. And also I was watching some of the game, Florida State versus Arizona State in the bowl game. And, I know there was not really great coaching at all. And Kendall Brawlers really didn't give a crap about what was going on. But, there was things that, he just kind of was being lackadaisical and not even focusing on what he was doing at times. And he looked lost. So that's where the whole mental thing and maybe his confidence not being to where it could be needed to be worked on, and hopefully you see an improvement in that too heading into the season because your offensive line's not going to. I mean, I don't know if it changes dramatically. If it changes dramatically for Florida State, that means that they're going to be decent. The average, it would be a dramatic increase for Florida State, and he's still got to deal with that offensive line.
We could legitimately argue this is Florida State's easiest opening game since I'd probably say the 2015 season. When they opened with, I believe it was Texas State we opened with that season. Because since then it's been Ole Miss, Alabama, Virginia Tech, and Boise State. Those have been the last 4 openers for Florida State.
It is definitely the easiest.
Oh, and I think that's the best thing for James Blackman is I think, with all due respect to Georgia Tech, because we all remember what happened the last time Florida State played Georgia Tech, a 3-9 Georgia Tech team that ended up shocking the world that season with the block kick. Mm-hmm. But I feel like this is going to be a good chance for James Blackman. This will be the confidence game. This is what's going to build him up. Forget last season. Forget everything that happened in 2018, 2017. Focus on 2020. You get this first win against Georgia Tech. Use that as the building block. Take that confidence into the bye week. Come down here. Hopefully break the losing streak to Miami. And then just build from that point right there. And thank you, Redbeard. We appreciate it. These guys did not get me a cake. They're both selfish. They didn't even order me anything. I live right by a Publix. They can make a phone call. But did either one of them get it? No. They know Red Velvet's my favorite, but fine. That's okay. I had to get my own Popeyes.
How would I know that Red Velvet was your favorite?
You asked me last year on my birthday when I had my broken arm. You asked me, what's your favorite cake? I said Red Velvet, but thanks.
That somehow escaped me probably about 13 seconds after you told me.
That is my goal, by the way, for this birthday is to not have a broken arm on September 2nd this year. That's my goal.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's phenomenal. I think
shoot for the stars, Jason.
If you get a text from me tomorrow with a picture of me in a cast, you'll know what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. exactly.
But
Redbeard springing for the birthday cake. We appreciate that.
And he always comes in saying, hit that like button. We got 60 people watching, 17 likes. We need to amp it up a little bit. More likes the earlier, the more viewers that we'll have near the end. The algorithm just loves the likes. So if we hit the like button,
so now we're doing it at the end of the first
fun
quarter.
Bringing FSU fans in here.
I thought this was a halftime thing. Now we're doing it after every quarter.
I used to do it in the early episodes too, and it was rocking. But we're kind of slow tonight.
My new call out for everyone is share these videos. You're on social media, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're wherever else. Just grab the link and throw it out there.
That would be very nice too, honestly.
My call out is to say something nice you like about me for my birthday. Let's go that for the rest of the show. Mark's going to put all the nice things people want to say about me.
Hornibrook should have never smelled the field last year, says Joseph.
He smelled the field. He did get sacked a lot against Miami, but yeah, he did that. He smelled the field.
I thought I was being set up to say something nice about Jason on his birthday.
No, I want the viewers to say something. I know you two don't have anything nice. I want the viewers to say something.
I immediately have something nice to say.
Go ahead.
Jason, you have a perfect attendance record.
Thank you. I'm the nerd with the perfect attendance record. Got it. Hornibrook I'm going to disagree a little bit. I think Hornibrook should have seen the field earlier on. I think after the Clemson game, I would have liked to have seen Hornibrook start against Wake Forest. I think by that point, after the Clemson game, Hornibrook was kind of the more confident out of the two between him and James Blackman. I think starting Hornibrook a little bit later, I don't think he should have started against Miami. I think from that point it was a lost cause. And I think Florida State has shown of late between Everett Golson and Alex Hornibrook that they should just skip the transfer quarterbacks. It's not going to work. Stick with what you've got. Mm-hmm. SEC Dog, great job, Logan. JP needs a notepad. Okay. Great job, SEC Dog. Y'all come back now, you hear?
It's a notepad. I don't understand what that means.
It's a joke. It's a joke that rednecks from Georgia like. So I'm sure.
I didn't know, but I know SEC Dog is like in every stream because if I'm going to watch, like last night, Mark was on late until like midnight last night, and SEC Dog's in there. Then he's also in the Miami one, so he makes his rounds around to troll you, Jason.
Yeah. SEC Dog needs a hobby. He needs a girl, something, man. SEC Dog, we're worried about you, brother. Come on.
Yeah,
we need to get the word out here because, man, this is the best, of course, rivaled by Logan's show. So I don't want to pick a favorite here. I don't want to say anyone's better than anyone, but quality Florida State content here. So, man, I just sent out a notification last night, like 10 minutes before I went on, and I was at like 180 on the line for the call-in show at like midnight. So, Florida State fans, get your friends in here. Get people in here.
We need more. And we're about only a little over a week from kickoff, which is crazy.
And in that kickoff game, Logan, Florida State right now is an 11.5-point favorite over Georgia Tech. Once again, this is a Georgia Tech team. They were 3-9 last season, with probably their biggest win coming down here in overtime against Miami. Let me just take a moment. That was a great moment. But should Florida State be a bigger favorite? Should they be bigger than 11.5-point favorite against Georgia Tech?
Right now, I don't. Right now, for me, no. Until we see what happens on the field and we see that Norvell and that offense can actually move. I wouldn't put any money on Florida State if I were any kind of betting person either. Until I see some kind of product on the field that tells me to change my mind about it, I don't see too much of a problem with it. I know obviously Georgia Tech had struggles last year. They're learning a new system too. They might trot out Jeff Sims here and there during this game. So Florida State should have a good amount of points to maybe go above that 11 mark. But for right now, if it were me, I wouldn't be too mad at that. I don't think it's too outrageous. I don't think it's too crazy, to be honest.
Yeah, Mark and I were talking about this before the show. I think it's too high. I really do. And that's not a knock against Florida State. It's not a knock against Mike Norvell. But we've sat here for the last probably 3 or 4 seasons as Florida State fans, as people who cover the team, and it's just been, I feel like, disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. Even in the wins, you're like, we blow this lead, and it ends up being a close game. Until Florida State comes out there and just absolutely waxes a team they're supposed to wax, I'm going to come in with the mindset that Georgia Tech can come into Tallahassee and win this game. Because I'm tired of coming in with this mindset of Florida State deserves to win just because we won a national title in 2013 or because we had a dynasty run 20 years ago. Prove it on the field. You hit the nail on the head. Prove it on the field and then get it done that way.
Yeah.
Let's look at Georgia Tech's ACC results from last season. Okay, we can throw out the first one. They played Clemson. They lost by 38, but Clemson's in a different league. Everybody else, they played North Carolina. They lost by 16 at home. Duke was bad last year. They lost to Duke by 18 on the road. They beat Miami in overtime. Big win of the year. A 3-9 Georgia Tech team beating Miami as like a 15-point dog in that game. Okay, they lost to Pitt by 10. They lost to Virginia only by 5, the division champion. They lost to Virginia Tech by 45. They beat NC State by 2. Those are their ACC results. 11.5 sounds about right to me. As Logan says, I would not touch that line. If I had to, if somebody was holding a gun to my head, I'd take Florida State to cover.
I think if we're going to ask right now, if you're saying, do I think Florida State wins by more than 11.5 points? Yes. I think Florida State will win by at least 2 touchdowns. That being said, that is just my biased FSU alumni gentleman talking. As somebody covering this team, I don't have the confidence yet because I have not seen if James Blackman is that confident James Blackman. I have not seen if that defense is improved. So until that happens, I need to see Florida State dominate against the team they're supposed to dominate against.
I am somewhat curious because, Logan, if I'm not mistaken, you were very confident about the West Virginia matchup, and that was a neutral site. And now you're at home against Georgia Tech. Seems like a pretty similar matchup.
Yeah, no, I think Florida State, and we'll give our predictions next week, but I think this should be a game this defense should have highlights on through. And it's going to be a good game for them to start off with against them because that offense is still learning its new system there. And this defense, if they just play decent, it shouldn't be even close. They shouldn't be able to move down the field unless there's broken coverages. But we know we've seen that last couple of seasons, so I can't make fun of it. But this defense should have a field day on this offense. They should abuse them. Whatever quarterback they trot out there, Marvin Wilson should be able to sling him around. And that it shouldn't be a game on that side of the ball offensively. I think this is also a good tune-up for Blackman and that offensive line and figuring out who's going to fit where and what. Also, I'm interested to see who they're going to trot out there at wide receiver. I think we might be shocked with whoever might trot out there in the first series or at least in the first snap. I know it doesn't really matter much. I don't know why too many people get all shook up about who the starting wide receivers are going to be, which 3 or 4, whoever's going to be out there, because we've seen the last couple of seasons in college football, wide receivers are in and out. And, Florida State's got depth there, a good amount of it with talent. So I'm just interested, though, and there might be some surprises on who's going to be out there, because right now I don't think DJ Matthews will be he might be on the sideline during this game. I do think that he's still trying to stay with the program, but I know he's got some stuff he's dealing with family-wise. So, who offensively is going to be out there at the wide receiver unit. So they're defensively shouldn't be a tough match. Offensively, it's a good time to watch some film afterwards and tune up some things.
How many times have we said that in the last 3 years, Logan? That exact sentence we've said multiple times, and at the end of the game, we've come back and gone, what the hell's going on? Before, Mark, I want to get one question out of you, Logan, because we talked about this before. At the running back position, obviously, we believe Coburn is going to be the starting running back against Georgia Tech. But what about Webb? We talked about him a little bit. What's his situation?
Yeah, I've got a little update on Nugget-wise. LaDamian Webb, if you're in our Discord, you would have known about this. I had to mention Discord in there. But if you're in our Discord today, I highly suggest you joining. But we threw in a little nugget regarding him. There's been some speculation and some rumors that he might have not been able to play in this last scrimmage and that he's been hindering an injury. But from what I've been told, per a source, he is good to go for the Georgia Tech game. So honestly, that was going to be my next concern, because we talked about the running backs before last week on who was going to be backing up Corbin. And There's a lot of young cats there. Not a lot of guys with experience at the college level, but if you're able to have LaDamian Webb be back there behind Corbin, and I don't really think he's going to be kind of a backup. He's going to be getting a lot of PT with Corbin. If you're able to have LaDamian Webb out there, who has had college experience at the JUCO level and actually is really talented and can catch the ball, I think that's going to help Corbin get some rest, and also that offense play in different packages. So it's a good news for Florida State right now, heading into the Georgia Tech game. LaDamian Webb seems to be ready to rock on September 12th.
And how happy are you that the game is not at noon? Because now say it's a 3:30 kickoff. You were a little bit freaking out on social media about the game possibly being at noon.
Yeah.
You feel better now knowing that you will have time to drink before the game.
Yeah, that gives me a good, at least probably about 2 hours of natty ice. I can probably sip down. And then I got to start, getting my mind right and head into the stadium and make sure that, I get my notes down for the show on Tuesday night. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to be completely fine. I'll be around my family too, because this year it's going to be all about family, since all the seating's a little bit different. So I'll be on my best behavior, but it's all business once we step inside that stadium, Jason. Notes, everything, tweets are going to be just off the rails.
We bought our tickets. My family will be up there for the Georgia Tech game. I will not be up there for this game. I'll be up there for North Carolina and Pitt and Virginia. So
those are good games.
I will be up there for those games. So
do you want a beer? I'll give you a beer.
I don't drink before games. I never, even when I was in college, I never drank before a game.
Not like crazy drinking, or just like, a sip of brew?
Never even had a sip. The one time I've had a sip of alcohol before a game was the 2018 Florida State-Miami game. That was because we had a former intern at our station. She was a Miami student. And she was a little attractive, I'm not going to lie. She said, "Here, have a drink." I was like, okay, I'll take one sip of the drink, and we lose 28-27. That's it. God is my witness. Mark is looking suspicious, like I'm full of it. I swear.
Does this have to do with superstition? What's this have to do with?
Because I look at it like I want to be as the fan, I want to be the smart fan. I don't want to be the idiot like Logan seeing, play Freebird, yelling at the Freebird at halftime. You got to be for it. Don't lie.
That has never been me.
But I always look at that mindset like I'm still like I want to focus on. I want to be kept that fresh mind. So that's why.
Gotcha. Okay, birthday boy, you be the first to take your crack at this question from Redbeard40. He's not able to identify who made this prediction, so it could be some shoddy outfit. We have no idea. But he saw something that predicted Florida State finishing 7th out of the 15 teams in the ACC. Thoughts?
I don't think it's going to be that. I think the most things I've seen have been them finishing like 3rd in the Atlantic Division. I don't think I've seen anything of them finishing lower. I think
we're not playing divisions, are we?
But what I'm saying is before the whole pandemic,
gotcha.
Schedule and everything wasn't divisions. That's the worst I saw. I think I saw one that had us predicted 4th, which would even then probably be maybe 6th or 7th in the conference. But yeah, I would legitimately say right now, you'd probably say Clemson is the runaway number 1 team in the ACC, obviously. If we're entering the preseason, I'd probably say Miami, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, and Louisville would argue maybe are ahead of Florida State right now. So what's that, 6? So that'd be about 6th or 7th right now. And Notre Dame, obviously, because I forgot the idiot move that we've got Notre Dame in the conference this year. But so yeah, I'd argue right now probably 7th. Makes sense. Clemson, Notre Dame at the top. Miami, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Louisville. So yeah, probably 7th.
Nah, whoever said that's on crack, or maybe cocaine, or maybe has needles in between their toes and are injecting it right now as we speak. Maybe Jason's doing it. 7th is ridiculous. Let me run you down real quick. What do we got? Let me run down. So Notre Dame's in it this year. So I'm gonna go Clemson, Notre Dame. I don't give a damn if Derek King's down there in Miami. UNC. Miami also lost their life-changing defensive lineman.
Logan, timeout. I'm not saying I think Florida State will finish 7th in the ACC. I think that right now I can understand why Florida State would be in the preseason put in that group based on everyone. Everyone's still high on Sam Howell in North Carolina. Everyone's high on Scott Satterfield, what he did at Louisville. Everyone down here is loving Derek King. And legitimately, I have Miami fans who think he's going to be a Heisman Trophy winner this year. So I can understand why people think Florida State would be a 7th place team in the ACC. Do I think Florida State finishes 7th in the ACC? Stay tuned next week.
Okay.
I got Florida State at 4. I got Florida State at 4.
Florida State at 4. Florida State, the jury's out for Jason. This is what I think of the ACC. Since Florida State fell off in the transition from 2016 to 17, they are the last team that has challenged Clemson in any way. Since then, it's been a one-team league. Then on the back end of that, you have a revolving door of worse teams. Georgia Tech was the worst team last year. Syracuse has been the worst team. NC State was surprisingly, after winning 8-9 games most seasons, a 1-7 team in the conference. So the worst team in the league, who knows? It could be Boston College, Syracuse, Georgia Tech still, whomever. But then you've got this glut of basically 7-5 teams that go anywhere from 3-5 to 5-3 in the conference. Wake Forest, Louisville, on down the line. Everybody throw a blanket over them. I don't think there's much difference between the 3rd place team in the ACC and the 10th place team in the ACC until it's proven differently this year.
We talked a little bit about this last week, that I think there's, and we'll go over it again. If you look at the Florida State schedule, 11-game schedule, there are 2 games that Florida State will absolutely lose. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. Clemson and Notre Dame, right now, we have no chance of beating either one of those teams. There are 4 teams that we, of course, anything can happen. I'll say that, but I think right now we're not going to beat either one of those 2 teams. There are 4 teams that we will definitely more than likely we'll beat: Georgia Tech, Jacksonville State, Duke, and I'm going to say Pitt. I think we definitely beat those 4 teams right there. The question is going to come in those other 5 games. Can Florida State beat Miami? Yes. Can Florida State beat North Carolina? Yes. Can Florida State beat Louisville, Virginia, and NC State? Does Florida State have the talent to beat all 5 of those teams? Absolutely. The question is, which game will Florida State let down? It's going to happen. Is Florida State going to go to Louisville and lose to Louisville after a stretch of games that included Miami, Notre Dame, and North Carolina? Are they going to lose at home to Virginia over Thanksgiving weekend? It's going to be that question right there. It's, can Florida State finally win those games that they're supposed to get back up to the top and competing with Clemson and being one of the top teams in the ACC? That's what we need to see from Florida State this year.
It sounds like you're projecting either 7-5 or 6-4, because if you got 4 guaranteed wins, 2 guaranteed losses, you got 5 games left, and they're playing 11 games. So you're looking at 7-4 or 6-5, right? So you got 5 games left.
Florida State,
and if they go 3-2 or 2-3, then they go 6-5 or 7-4.
I'll say it like this: Florida State has the talent to be a 9-2 team. They absolutely have the talent to be a 9-2 team. But over the last 3 seasons, they've played like a team that barely wants to be 6-5, judging by what our schedule is this season. Right now, I'm more inclined to say Florida State is going to be closer to a 6-5, 7-4 team because of what they've done. But it's going to be, if they can go up and beat Louisville, if they can beat Virginia, if they can do all this, they could be an 8-3 team. They could easily be 8-3. And I think if Florida State can finish the season at 8-3, and maybe their losses are Notre Dame, Clemson, and just throwing out there, let's say Louisville, road game at Louisville. If that's what happens this season, I would take that schedule. I would take those results right now, because I think that would be the sign of the right direction for Florida State. It's winning those games you're supposed to win. We're supposed to beat North Carolina when they come down here. We're supposed to beat Virginia since they lost all their guys from a team that won the Coastal Division last year. We're supposed to beat Pitt. We're supposed to beat these teams. It's winning those games you're supposed to win.
I don't know if you're supposed to beat North Carolina. Are you supposed to beat North Carolina? Are you supposed to be better than North Carolina year to year? Yeah, you're Florida State. They're North Carolina. You're supposed to be better. But this North Carolina team, when is that game? How deep into the season?
October 17th. October 17th. It's after the Notre Dame.
The 5th game.
That's where the North Carolina game might be the most important game, because you look at it this way. Now that the Jacksonville State game got moved to October 3rd, you lose that bye week between Miami and Notre Dame. So now you go from Georgia Tech to the bye week. Then you have Miami, Jacksonville State at home, and then Notre Dame before North Carolina comes to Tallahassee. So the question is going to be, let's say Florida State goes up to South Bend and gets beat. 7:30 p.m. on NBC. Make sure to watch. But you're not going to have that chance to have a lot of time before you can move on to North Carolina. That's where the North Carolina game becomes a trap game. That's a game where North Carolina, do we have the talent to beat North Carolina? Yes. Do we have the mentality at this point to beat North Carolina? That's the question. I need to see that against Miami. I need to see that against Georgia Tech. I need to see a heck of a fight against Notre Dame to say that I have the confidence that we are going to beat North Carolina, that we are going to beat Louisville, that we are going to beat NC State.
We shall see. There were some questions about the offensive line. I think the offensive line is going to play itself out. I think you won't really have your full starting offensive line until you face off against, Miami. I don't think you'll really, after watching film, some guys are going to be moved around. I think Norvell said in a presser today that he's got between like 5 to 8 or more, something like that, of players that he feels like comfortable that he can move around with. I don't know if maybe he's telling some coaching lies there or not, but I think your 3 probably solidified guys that are going to be on there. You've got Bavion Johnson, who seems to be the starting center. Dante Lucas. You've also got Devontae Love-Taylor, and then I think Darius Washington. I think those are what I named there, 4 guys. 4 guys that are solidified on that offensive line. Who are you going to move around? That's the real question.
Yeah, I'm going to say something for the fans right now. Thank you, MSU #1 fan. I appreciate that. And one of the viewers that Mark did in the comment section here hit the nail on the head. We love to make fun of Miami fans. It's one of my joys in life, being down here in South Florida, is making fun of Miami people. But as much as we'd like to joke about it, Georgia Tech came down here and beat Miami. And then Miami later waxed us. That's just the facts. Georgia Tech is fully capable of coming into Tallahassee and beating Florida State. So as much as we want to talk about North Carolina, as much as we want to talk about these other games, and I think Florida State wins, but we need to not overlook Georgia Tech. We need to take this. This season needs to go one game at a time. Of any schedule we've had in a while, one game at a time is absolutely what we have to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you know what else you have to do? You have to hit the like button.
That is true. You always need to hit the like button on every show that you're here on. I don't know how many people we've got. Almost 100 people watching, but only 41 likes. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people on their phone, they could go swipe down a little bit, scroll down, and hit that like button so then more FSU fans can jump in there and say what's up, say hey to us, enjoy a good time. It's Jason's birthday. We're celebrating. The next time we're on here, we'll be live previewing a football game that's going to be happening in front of our eyes. There's going to be a game happening after Jason, Debbie Downer. I can't wait until the game week happens because I've got a lot of tweets. I've got a lot of things to say to a few people. I might even send Jason a few pictures while I'm in the stadium saying this is not CGI. This is really happening. This is football. It's here, everybody. Make sure you're here every night, Tuesday evening. Hit the like button right now so more FSU fans can be here.
You're going to be bragging about being in a quarter-filled stadium. You know what?
I don't give a damn.
Logan, you have this moment. You be in a 95-degree Tallahassee. I'll be up there in October when it's a little bit cooler and it's a little bit more pleasant.
I don't get
it. Somebody had asked in the live chat how many people are going to be in the stadium.
So it's going to be about a quarter of the attendance, I believe. It's about 25%, so that's about between 19 and 20,000. What they did was over a 2-week period, they allowed season ticket holders to purchase one of 2 packages. They split up the game, so it was either Jacksonville State, Clemson, and Pitt, or Georgia Tech, Virginia, and North Carolina. And then what they did was you were allowed to pick your games, you were allowed to pick your block, and then starting tomorrow, you're allowed to buy more blocks. And then I spoke to one of the ticket people today. If there are any tickets left after that point, those will be sold to the general public, but they think that they are going to be completely out because they did not expect, I guess, the number of people who didn't want to buy season tickets for obvious reasons. Concerns over health, concerns over being around people inside the stadium, but it's going to be that. And I will actually spoke to some folks for our Florida State fans who want to buy tickets for the Miami game. Miami will start to sell season tickets for games, including the September 26th game against Florida State, starting next week. They don't know how many tickets they're going to have. They don't know how many season tickets have been renewed at this point. So just pay attention. We'll let you know next week for their games with no students are going to be inside the stadium. Oh darn.
Next Tuesday night, we'll be here at 6 o'clock Eastern time, so mark your calendars. And then Logan and the boys have a special Knoll Game Day preseason Florida State special at 8 o'clock. Tell us about that.
Logan, tell us. Come on.
I'm going to have both of these gentlemen on. Now I get to have them and host them in our house, and we're going to have a 2-hour show. I'm having these two along with James Coleman also. And then we're having a boatload of other guests. We're working on Charlie Ward coming on. We're having a mega cast with Jeff Cameron from ESPN Radio here in Tallahassee. Ari Masudi, he is, if you know about him on the beat at FSU, he's with the ACC Network now on ESPN. He's doing a lot of stuff. Tim Linefelt, the former senior writer for Seminoles.com, will be on air with us too. There will be different time slots for different people coming in. I think Mark, we've got him down so far because he's got stuff going on. We've already got him at a time slot around 8 or 9:30. So we'll get him at the back end of it. We haven't figured out Jason's yet, but by the end
Somebody's got to clean up the mess, Logan.
Yeah, you
so
got to clean up everything.
There at 9:30.
You probably got to clean up what Jason was said. By the way, Jason, Greg Reed cannot do it on September 8th. He has his birthday. That's his birthday on September 8th. So he cannot make it.
Real Seminoles work on their birthday. So that's
I understand. But we also have big time fans on there coming. Tarif Knockout. Obviously, a lot of FSU fans know him from social media. Peach, also the #1 troll for FSU on social media. So we've got a whole boatload of guests coming on. I'm really excited about it. We have Freddie Stevenson, former national champion, a few other podcast people. So this one's going to be a 2-hour show, and I'm really, really excited about it to have these two guys come on, and we're going to just sit back and enjoy previewing the season and see what everybody's got to say. It's going to be fun.
How in the hell did you get all these people on there?
It's a mix of with TJ from the Big Three Roll Up Network. They have a lot of podcasts, and also connections that I've had from doing our podcasts and having guests on. But it seems like Charlie Ward is a go if his agent. I got to check my email, but so far so good. I'm really excited about it. 2 hours previewing the whole season. It should be fun.
Now you know I'm a little earlier because I'm older. I need an earlier bedtime. So if you give me a little bit earlier,
we'll give you a little bit earlier, so then Mark can clean up the mess at the end and represent the Mark Rogers show near
that. Is Mark going to come in as a observer of Florida State, or is he going to come in as the Ohio State guy who's upset?
The voice of college football.
Yeah, national analyst. That's what he is. He's a national analyst because we reached out to Brett McMurphy too. Haven't heard back yet from him, but. We're getting, I think, Benji Brown. I don't know. It's gonna be fun.
There's no preference given to anyone here, Jason, on the voice of college football,
except Logan.
Oh, and I forgot. There's a question here.
Yeah, but no team.
I know Logan's your favorite son out of the two of us. I know. I get
There's a question in here too. This whole show is going to be everywhere, so it's going to go on. This will be our first time doing this, but Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So it's going to go on all 4 platforms. So it's all going to be under Knoll Game Day on our account. So whichever one you pick, it will be there. We'll actually be able to read some of the comments too throughout it, but I have a feeling it's just going to be packed with conversations. So
I'm gonna give him this one, Mark. I'm going to give him this one. Hey, Logan, do you have to be a part of your Discord to watch this?
Nope, not at all. Not at all. It's all going to be completely public, and we don't know how many viewers there will be, but it will be a party. And I have a really good question from Mark too, that it might be a question about what went wrong with Willie Taggart, but that's something that we'll let Mark. I know Mark has a few things to say, so
it's called dumpster fire. Moving on.
So a number of people have commented tonight in the live chat about the defensive coordinator that replaced Harlan Barnett, Adam Fuller. Logan's going to be on to break down the coaching staff and the special teams here in the next week, whenever we can corral him and get together on that. But is there any particular reason why people are taking shots at the D coordinator?
From Barnett, well, this is a Canes fan, so this is nothing new. They're just
okay. Well, right there, but there were others. I don't know if they were all Miami fans.
Yeah, I saw a few of Barnett things. I think some FSU fans were talking mainly about Barnett. I don't think they really. I don't usually Miami fans. What they do is they say a few things, but they don't do their homework and see what Adam Fuller has done in his previous stops and whatnot. So it's not much of a shock there. But we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. If Adam Fuller can just do the simplest and have good coaching all around with his assistants on that defensive side, this should be a very good defensive. I don't know, defense. I didn't want to say defense 20,000 times, but it should be a solid top 25 defense if things are done right. Could they go wrong? They could, but coaching on the secondary has been poor the last 4 seasons. Linebacker play has just been absolutely embarrassing on a lot of fronts. Guys that are sometimes not even big enough to make tackles, or they just aren't making their right reads, or going to whichever holes, just aren't there. And then defensive line has always been pretty solid, but you haven't had any consistency on the outside in a good while since Brian Burns. So there's some things that, if there's tuning up and good coaching, that should fix that, because the talent is most certainly there. Jason, we've seen it all over Twitter. Joshua Kando has been getting a lot of praise. He was the guy bringing the hammer down to the rock to end off camp, and it seems like Norvell and staff are really liking what he has to offer, and it seems like he's got tunnel vision for the season ahead. So that, if he and J-Rob can be those 2 towers on each end of the ball, that's a great start to make it relay to the back end of the football field for defense.
Adam Fuller is getting – I don't think he's getting a lot of respect, because the mindset is – and, you've talked about it a little bit before, Mark, about how, what Florida State football is, what Florida State means. He's coming in from jobs at, I believe it was Chattanooga, Marshall, and Memphis, not exactly the football powers of the Power 5. So that's where it's kind of – he hasn't earned that respect yet. I think he's got a great future because of the fact that it can't get worse. I mean, it possibly could get worse. They could finish dead last in defense, but Logan hit the nail on the head. The defense has been god-awful, minus a couple players, for the last 4 seasons. So he really just has to improve it little by little. And this is what we've talked about. Florida State needs to focus on a little bit of a time. Get into the top 70, then get into the top 60, get into the top 50, and go from there. I'm not saying by the end of the year, but Logan said Florida State has that potential to be a top 20, top 25 defense at the end of the year. It's playing like that. And then the question's going to come up. Why are they able to do it in 2020 when it's a lot of the same guys who were here in 2019, 2018, 2017 that weren't able to do it?
Yeah.
He's getting the magazine out.
If I had a magnifying glass, I could read their defensive rankings in the ACC and nationally, but there's no way. I got my contacts in. I can't even see that. Goodness gracious.
God, you're old.
Yeah, I am old. When you need like 4 different eye support, like you got the contacts, I got the glasses, I got the reading glasses, and sometimes just nothing does me best. It's a mess. LASIK surgery's on its way.
I do want to give a shout out to MG14 Classified, the loyal viewer who watches us every week, comments all the time. But because Logan mentioned the name Sharif Knockout, he's a fan of Florida State. He has been complaining and nonstop bitching and complaining for years about the whole white numbers thing. And I'm sorry, it's the dumbest argument in the world. Florida State did not lose games because we had gold numbers on our uniforms. We lost games because Willie Taggart wasn't coaching right, and Jimbo Fisher gave up and abandoned ship. That's why we lost.
What was that, Mark? Willie Taggart did what?
It's on record.
I got that
it's recorded.
I've said it for months now. You guys should probably listen. Put down the beer, Logan, and listen.
What's Mark? What does Mark have to put down?
His water. He'll put down his water.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's got 2 of them.
Vitamin water. Got 2 of them. Got vitamin water. Got the regular.
If you are that delusional that you think the color of a jersey number is what affects wins and losses, I'm sorry, Mark. I know you don't like this word, but I'm going to say it. You're an idiot. You're an idiot if you legitimately think that jersey color number.
Actually, one of my favorite words.
Now, what about if Florida State goes like 8-3 this season? What do you do?
I think it's going to be the fact that they would live up to their potential of being. We've said this. Florida State has the talent to be a 9-2 team. If they go 8-3, they're playing to their talent. That's what it is, and I would say that if their jersey colors were pink and green.
It's just a fun thing to talk about. I think it's obviously all that FSU fans really had to talk about was uniforms. You know, that was going to be the last excuse you could use that Florida State wasn't winning any games, and let them do that. And if wins start coming, then let them be right. It's kind of like a thing if, you know, blah, blah, blah. But if they're winning, just let them roll with it. And that's what the curse was. And you know what? I mean, it does look a lot better, though. I will say that. It does look like
I will admit
better.
I will admit it. I do like the white numbers with the garnet jerseys. I will give you that. Here's my question. If Florida State has a losing season this year, if they do, will people like Tarif Knockout and others who have been harping and nonstop bitching about this whole thing, will they admit they were wrong?
And well, I think the next excuse, you got to give it some more time. You got to get rid of the shoulder caps. After that, you know, if Florida State has a tough season, you got to get rid of the shoulder caps. After the shoulder caps are gone, the trouble print there is bye-bye, good to go. You know, that's all I got to say.
Got it. I think you had a few beers already, but okay, cool.
I haven't had it. That got Jason more riled up than even talking about actual football. Just
because it's honestly, and I'm going to say this: we and you and I have talked about this before, Logan. We've talked about this off camera.
I'm going to be sending $5 on to Jason through Cash App or whatever his mode of.
Thank you, Premier Youth Theater. Close enough with the muzzle tov. I'm going to give you credit. Close enough.
That'll get you a slice of cake. We'll pass that on. We'll get you the $5.
Anyway, moving on. My point is the fact that we have a fan base that we have a lot of good fans, but we have a lot of fans who act like Miami fans, a lot of fans who act like Notre Dame fans, a lot of fans who act like Michigan fans. We have fans who don't use common sense. And it happens with every big fan base. I mean, you got a guy from Alabama fan, Harvey Updike, who just passed away recently, who poisoned trees because they lost to Auburn. There's a lot of crazy fans, and there's some in Garnet and Gold. It's idiots who legitimately believe that the color of the number in the jersey is the difference between wins and losses.
They got you. They got your attention. They got you.
Logan, admit to it.
I don't take it that serious. I'm not taking their thing seriously. Obviously, it's just a dramatic thing.
Just admit that it's.
You have some things against these people. You got pissed off about people blowing up your timeline. That's what happened. They're all over your timeline with it.
Tarif Knockout one time called me Peter Parker because he thought it was so clever. Like I haven't heard that since the first grade. Oh, fat white guy with the last name Parker. Oh, you're going to put Peter in front of it. I haven't heard Peter Griffin when I shave off my goatee. I get it.
So now you just told me to have y'all two in the same time slot for the next show.
I will ask him point blank that question because I will be the first person to give Florida State credit. It has nothing to do with the color of the number. That's all. It has to do with the fact that they're living up to their potential. Because I guarantee you, if Florida State had white numbers in their garnet jerseys, they still would have gone 6-7 last season. They still would have gone 5-7 the year before. They still would have gone 7-6 the year before. It's Florida State not playing up to their potential. It doesn't have to do with the damn color of the number.
Oh, this could be great content next week on
You're excited about this, aren't you?
This could be nuts.
There must be something going wrong here because it's been a long time since I've argued with Jason. He must be reasonable with some of these thoughts recently because I've just had nothing to jump on.
Well, it will start whenever you're kind of giving yourself a little relaxation. You're at the spa these last couple of weeks before next week when it starts going down. It's going to start.
When there's actually football on the field, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to start getting ugly in here.
I'm gonna stoke the fire real quick with Logan over there. Mr. All is well. Nothing is wrong with what's going on.
What did I say?
You brought this upon yourself. All right, Logan.
What did I do? I didn't even say anything about the uniform. I was just saying I don't take it too hard that they're saying that they will change. If it does, it does. I don't.
I'm going to ask Logan first, and I'm going to ask Logan so that Mark can have a chance to look at our schedule because then I'm going to go to Mark.
You're going to go to Mark?
On our schedule this season, What is the trap game for Florida State? I said that I think North Carolina is the trap game because it comes after Notre Dame. You know, it's a team we should beat, but I don't know if we, at this point, if I can guarantee that we would beat them. What do you think is the trap game for Florida State?
Looking at my schedule on.
Now, if you were a responsible alumni, you would have already had the schedule.
I already had this printed somewhere, like over here. Trap game is going to be.
I said North Carolina, so you can't take that.
You said North Carolina? All right, I'm going to go. I don't think they're going to be that good this year, but it always seems to be a problem. And their eyes are going to be on Clemson. A lot of these players are focused on them. So I'm going to go NC State at NC State. I do not think that is going to be a good team. I don't think NC State is going to be special, but they don't ever really have to be special to be able to compete with Florida State. I don't think they're going to be all that well, but I think a lot of their attention is going to be on Clemson. And you got to hope, though, that with this new staff, that's kind of changed, and they make sure they're headed on the right direction of competing one team week after week, not having to focus on Clemson 2 weeks in advance. Because we saw this with the last couple of staffs that they really were focused on the teams ahead, and weren't even focused about the church groups that they were playing out there on the field that the last staff couldn't really compete with until the fourth quarter with getting a field goal with just a few seconds left, almost going to overtime. So I would go NC State.
Mark, what do you think?
Well, people that watch me on a regular basis and have served up the comment of a trap game understand that I somewhat debunk the concept myself. I understand what a trap game is in theory, but somebody needs to bring me a statistic to say that it actually does exist and that there is a trap game mentality that actually shows that teams get upset when there is a trap game.
All right, Mark, what game on Florida State's schedule should they win, but you think they have the best chance of losing?
Okay, let's also understand, to have trap games, you have to be a really good team. If you're not a really good team, there's no such thing as a trap game. A trap game is when you either are playing a capable but disregarded opponent before a big game or after a big game, or sandwiched between two big games. So the first game I came up with was exactly what Logan looked at. Prior to Clemson, you've got a date against North Carolina State, who should be a little bit improved from last year, and the game's on the road. So to me, that's a trap game. But I'm not a big believer of trap games.
I think, like, for example, I think last season you could argue Wake Forest was the trap game because it was coming after the Clemson game. You know, Logan hit the nail on the head how you had Miami 2 weeks later. It was kind of the game you could look past, and they got trapped up. And so that's why I worry about North Carolina being after Notre Dame. Because I do think that we are going to get beat handily by Notre Dame up there in South Bend. It's a night game, 7:30 p.m. on NBC. Check your local affiliates. It's going to be it's probably not going to be a pretty outcome for Florida State. So the question is going to be, after that game, can Florida State have that confidence to be a North Carolina team? I would argue we are more talented than them completely as a team. How many times have we seen Florida State lose to teams over the last arguably 5 seasons that they were more talented than?
Well, that's something that you really have to hope that the staff can improve upon. Hopefully they've already done their homework before and seen what the last 3 or 4 years, what has caused this team to lose to these teams that they shouldn't have lost to. And I'm sure they've had discussions in-house with players. I'm sure Norvell and his assistants have talked one-on-one with some leaders or some guys and veterans that have been there and kind of chatted about what that past staff was doing and what they could probably improve on and kind of do their own research, because that's something that goes on between every team. Hold up a second.
Important news with the no game day family over there. Either that or dinner just got made. Something just happened.
Alexa, you want to hear it?
This is a reminder. Clean the litter boxes, you lazy.
Did you hear it?
I didn't catch that.
It says, clean the litter boxes, you lazy F-bomb. So that's good for me and my roommate to hear every night at 8 p.m. But That's something that you got to have. That's what every team goes through. But that's been a struggle since, Jimbo Fisher too and Bobby Bowden. But that's something that for some reason is kind of a concern. I'm not too worried about it right now. What I'm worried about is quarterback depth heading into the season. I'm worried about running back. Well, I'm not really worried about that too much anymore, but who's coming out there on the wide receiver sets and how many points is Florida State going to beat Georgia Tech by?
I do love all the people who are already bashing the Miami fans saying that UAB is going to beat Miami. That would be interesting. UAB would upset Miami.
It could happen.
It could
Miami's
be.
track record, as you guys well know, in recent years, they lost to a bad Duke team last year. They lost to that horrible Georgia Tech team we've been talking about. They went 3-9. They lost to Jason's favorite team, FIU. That's just a complete embarrassment. And then they also only beat Western Michigan 17-12 last year. Beat Western Michigan, scored 17 points. The same Western Michigan team that left Miami went to Wisconsin and got waxed 61-0.
Central Michigan. Get your direction.
Central Michigan. Sorry.
Central. Gotta get your direction.
The Chippewas, right?
We've talked about Miami's in the same position that Florida State's in. Miami is in a position of a team that has played down to what they are. Should Miami win 9 games this season just on player talent alone? Absolutely. Will they? Probably not, because people don't want to talk about this. Miami has a schedule of their first 4 games of UAB, which is a good group of 5 team. Then they go to Louisville, which had a heck of a season last year under Scott Satterfield. We come down there. Then they go to Clemson. There's a decent chance that does Miami have the talent to be 3-1 at that point? Absolutely. Could Miami also be 1-3? Absolutely, 100%.
Well, there's a question too before we leave about Blackman, and do we think there will be an improvement there? We start off the stream and the show talking about him. I want to see the mechanics of his mental strengths get a little bit better, because I think he's got the physical attributes. We know that he's got a cannon of an arm, and he's going to have some deep threat weapons all around him this upcoming season. Keyshawn Helton looks great. Tamarion Terry. He is a top 5 wide receiver heading into the season in college football. And then you also got Jordan Young. You also now have Ontario Wilson Pokey, who has had a nice camp. And then also, we didn't even talk about it, but Florida State did just have a DB switch. Well, did we talk about it last week about the DB switch? Okay. So there's a lot of weapons on that offensive side for Blackman, but, we've got to see him be able to get a little bit, take that pocket, move up in the pocket, and make his short read throws, look down, look through the defense. And that's something that he struggled with through his career. But a lot of that is going into watching film and having some really good coaching. That's where you got to hope that Kenny Dillingham, everybody that has talked highly of him as being a young coach and is eventually going to be a head coach one day somewhere, or is going to be a pure offensive coordinator, is that he is able to sit down with him and go through all these things that has hindered his career the last couple of seasons, because he's got a really good ball, but he's got to work on his consistency, and you got to hope that he also his mental doesn't get too messed up with this offensive line, which is still going to take a couple games before getting smoothened out.
I think the other advantage he's going to have, and we've kind of talked about this in the past couple of weeks, he's going to be going back to an offensive mindset that's closer to what they had in 2017, Jimbo Fisher's final season. What we talked about in 2018, 2019, under Willie Taggart's head coach, and then Kendall Briles and Walt Bell's offensive coordinators, was a much different thing than what he came in 2017. I think that's what he's more comfortable with. And you're going to see Kenny Dillingham, an offensive coordinator, Mike Norvell, head coach, putting James Blackman in a lot more passing situations. Now, a lot more throwing, a little bit less the running ball, a little bit less using your ball. So I think that's where we're going to have an advantage. I think when you see a more comfortable James Blackman in the pocket, running out of that shotgun, I think you're going to see a much better James Blackman.
All right. I think our damage is done.
I gave Mike Norvell credit. That should make Logan happy. I gave him credit right there.
I honestly, about fainted. I about fainted on myself. And I can't wait. This is good momentum heading into next week when we do our record predictions, Mark. This is good momentum.
Record predictions. Speaking of which, a little plug for myself. Record predictions are released by me every day, going through the SEC right now. We just finished up with Alabama and LSU. We'll move on next to the ACC, game-by-game predictions.
Now, here's my question for Logan. Since we're going to be doing our new predictions next week, we'll reveal them at 6 o'clock, new time next week, so make sure to set your alarms an hour earlier. Now, our bet on push-ups is null and void, so we're going to do new bets.
Yeah, I think we'll have to make some bets next week.
Okay, so each one of us, let's make this simple. Each one of us next week, 6 o'clock special start time, Logan and I will have our 2 bold-faced predictions. These are our bold predictions for the ACC season.
Okay, for the ACC season or Florida State?
You can do it. Well, I mean, Florida State plays in the ACC, so just letting you know there.
I love how Jason shuts me out of these contests.
Because you're going to sit here and analyze what a push-up is. You're going to analyze the origin of push-up. You're going to sit there and analyze.
You know what a push-up is. I think that's pretty common knowledge.
Well, but you're going to sit there and analyze for it, and then the week after that, we'll finally get your answer.
Yeah,
you know what,
I'll tell you that when you say Clemson's going to win the ACC, that's not a bold prediction.
Who says I'm going to say that?
I'm just here to monitor, to define bold predictions.
Would you like to get involved in the push-up game with us?
I would like to get involved in some kind of push-up game. We could do that with the records.
Okay.
The only thing we need is if we all sit here and go 7-4, then we need to have a tiebreaker. That's all we need to do.
I say we don't lose to Florida this year.
That's a great one there. That's a great one. I wonder why you did that. I wonder why.
Bold, because Florida's a bunch of wussies. They don't want to play us.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't want to smoke.
That is true. Big time. Big week next week. We're back, baby. We're back. Debbie Downer, Jason is gone. Football's back, baby. Football's back. Jason wanted football gone. He's about to go to a bar tonight, even though he's going to talk about masks and all that. Football's back. Jason's going to bars. We are back full force. We're playing football. Let's hit somebody. It felt good watching that game on, what was that, Saturday night? It felt good hearing someone lay the living crap out of somebody. It felt good.
Popping pads.
Yeah, there's just no better feeling in the world just seeing 2 cats running at each other and talking crap and just getting, as long as it's not like Dontavius Jackson. But it's good to do some smart hitting and something.
Logan, do you even know the teams who are playing? I'm sorry.
It was something of something, and it was something of something. And I watched. And that's all I need to know. That's all I needed to know. How much I missed football because I watched 3/4 of it before I had things I needed to do for school.
Also, Mark, can you do me a favor? Can we pull up exactly which one of the episodes, since I've been on every episode, in which I said we would definitely have no football this season? Because I believe Logan is just making stuff up right now. So if you could just please pull up that episode where I said that. Oh, wait, it never happened.
Debbie Downer, though, you brought up a lot of different scenarios where we shouldn't, or there should be some where we probably wouldn't have it.
And I
said that there wouldn't be, but there was a lot of pro.
I will continue to say that if we get to a point in the season, whether it's before the Clemson game, before the NC State game, whatever, where the numbers do pick back up, and it's in our best interest to not have football, I would 100% support it.
We're fine. We're good. Get the boys out there.
Of course, yeah. That's
they're in a bubble. They're in a football facility. We test them. They're good. They're strong. They're young men. Get them out there.
Put your red hat on there, buddy. Get ready for football.
Get them out there. Quit shutting down the nation.
We gotta get going here. Got to get some.
Wofford didn't have to hear from the White House. That's a good thing, like the Big Ten did.
100%. No.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is, all kidding aside, that you have to look out for the safety. And right now, the numbers have gotten better. 100%. It's looking better right now. And if it stays on its current rate, absolutely. The ACC has laid out their rules for testing, what players are going to have to go through. If it works, great, 100%. If we get to this point in November where it gets worse again, you might have to get rid of games. You might have to stop playing games. That's just the fact of the matter. And do I want that to happen? No. But do I also want my father who's going through chemo to have to suffer and be in a hospital? No. And if he's going to suffer by going to a Florida State game, no, I don't want that to happen. And I don't want that to happen.
But let's also understand what the numbers mean and put the numbers into context. So that's an important part of it as well.
Yeah, okay.
That's why people lock into the voice of college football here, because we've had some medical experts over the last few months as well.
Right, because all three of us have our doctorates from Kent State, Florida
You
State.
almost have to at this point. All right, we've given everybody a little overtime. Got to get the
what is he
the
playing?
kitty litter taken out.
I'm playing a little college game day. It's time to wake up, baby. Football's here, Jason.
Did he not play the country music, please?
Come on, Jason.
You know I'm not a country music guy.
That's, I mean, I'm not entirely either, but that's the college game day intro. You wake up to that, it's time to get going and crack open a case of beer, which on the show on Tuesday night, I can't drink a ton because we got to host some stuff and I got to be on my behavior. But
yeah, you got like 4 hours ahead of you next week.
Will game day make its way to Tallahassee this year?
I don't know where, but they could let them come. Let them do it.
Do you think they would come down for the Clemson game? That's a question. What does Florida State's record have to be for game day to come down for Clemson?
Well, now with the Big Ten and Pac-12 gone, one loss max.
I'm fascinated by this question. People ask me this all the time. What game do you think on November 15th is going to be college game day? And you know what my response typically is? It always is. Who cares? I don't care where college game day goes. I don't see the significance in it. I don't really understand the fascination with it. They pick a game to go to. It's a good game. Big deal.
Jason, Jason,
I really I don't understand the significance.
Was that directed towards you? Jason, I do like having college.
If I'm
college game day in Tallahassee, I do like having college game.
If I'm Debbie Downer, what the hell is Mark over there?
I'm not being a downer. I'm not. That doesn't impact me whatsoever.
Mark just destroyed college game day, an American institution.
Yeah, and they help pay my paycheck too.
I was going to say, you should love college game day.
I love college game day. It's the best in the business. I just don't understand people's fascination with where it goes, where it gets selected, and if it's coming to town. Now, if you're going to go, yeah, you should be excited. Hey, college game day is coming to town. I can go on campus. But people that are like 14 states away, 3,000 miles, that care about college game day and are asking me every week, where do you think college game day should go this week? I'm always like, I don't care.
So before we go, now that we're in the overtime section here, sponsored by Popeyes this week. Yeah, I self-reported thing.
It's not sponsored by Popeyes. That's the problem.
It's my birthday. I'll give them the sponsorship if I want to. This is a question for both of you. Now, obviously, we talked about it. The Florida State Notre Dame game is a night game. A lot of the times got announced today. Florida State's first game will be at 3:30 against Georgia Tech. The Notre Dame game is one of two night games that Notre Dame will be hosting. They're hosting Clemson 7:30, Florida State 7:30. Why on earth would you put Florida State, a team that has back-to-back losing seasons, in prime time, Logan?
All about the storylines, and isn't that when NBC airs their games too? Or am I right on that? So they don't always air. They always air at 7:30 anyways.
Well,
no, they go 2:30.
The 2:30 is the normal new time now, where they air them at 2:30. But they're airing. It's the Duke games at 2:30. The Syracuse games at 2:30. The Florida State and Clemson games are at night, and then the USF games at 2:30 on USA because NBC is showing the U.S. Open golf tournament.
You're answering your question, Jason. Basically, NBC's looked at they probably get a certain number of time slots at 7:30, and so Florida State is one of the better opponents on the schedule.
But traditionally, Notre Dame has only done one night game. In fact, it was the game in 2018. The Florida State game was their one night game on NBC that year. Notre Dame has only had one night game on NBC, on the NBC networks. If you look at their games over the past few seasons. I love how you see this, Logan. He's questioning me, not realizing.
Of course I'm questioning you.
This is who I work for here, Mark.
You guys could guess who's calling me.
I know.
Uh-oh.
James Coleman.
8.
James Coleman calling me. He's like, where's the link?
I know it's past 8 o'clock.
I know, it's fine. So, no, but that's my question. Florida State I get why it's still the name. It's Florida State Notre Dame. You could run the great opens that they've run for years past. My question is, has Florida State earned that right to be the primetime nationally televised game against Notre Dame? And probably, if you look at the schedule, there'll probably be the primetime nationally televised game on ABC against Miami 2 weeks before. Has Florida State earned that right, Logan, to be on national TV this much, judging by the past 3 seasons?
Probably not. I mean, it's such a weird season anyways. If it was a regular season and there was no pandemic going on, it'd probably be maybe a little bit odd, but it always has a decent storyline between Florida State and Notre Dame. It's not too much of a shock. I don't think Florida State obviously shouldn't – I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm all about – I don't care how – I mean, it's Florida State hasn't played well the last 3 seasons, so it's no shock. Do what?
I said, I can't wait to answer this question.
Oh, yeah.
Who's not on national television anymore? Everybody's on national television all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's
ACC Network's not national television. I don't get to hear it in my house.
Well, ACC Network is dookie.
ACC Network is worse than Jefferson Pilot.
Yeah, the ACC and Comcast, they've got to figure something out. But
I couldn't find Notre Dame's schedule because they're in the ACC now, and I was looking for them under the independents. There they are.
Comcast.
Someone said Jason probably eats Popeye's biscuits and doesn't drink anything after.
Yeah, not at all.
Robert Davis said, Logan, thoughts on the tight end position and depth? Oh, whoa, my focus went gone. That one's a pretty interesting thought because you lose Jordan Wilson for the year, so what they're doing is running a walk-on back there. I forget his name, but he's wearing number 10. They have him in the scrimmage video, this last scrimmage video that Florida State released. But right now you got Cam McDonald, Carter Boatwright, and a little bit of Wyatt Rector kind of being that mix of a tight end, H-back kind of role. So you got to look for Wyatt Rector if he's really going to be – he got a scholarship, so they're expecting quite a bit from him this upcoming season. But Cam McDonald, you're for sure tight end number 1. Wyatt Rector might be more of your blocking guy. And then you look at this walk-on. You could see a movement from other players too, another player moving from defense to the tight end, but don't want to confirm that yet.
Redbeard, Premier Youth Theater, Mike Williams and Donna Hudson, we appreciate the Super Chat contributions and, of course, the one specifically targeted toward our birthday boy. So we'll have to get that to Jason so he can enjoy a little Popeyes.
I mean, Popeyes is inexpensive. It's delicious. It's nutritious in some way.
Yeah, protein, good protein.
Yes.
All right, boys. I think we've done our damage. Here we go.
Yes.
Next Tuesday, everybody, 6 o'clock here, and then the Knoll Game Day preseason special at 8 o'clock.
And next Tuesday, are you ready, guys? Are you ready? Next Tuesday, we are going to preview a football game.
Yep. In front of Jason. Yes.
Logan got one more dig in.
Unlike Logan, who didn't think this was going to happen, we are going to.
What? Don't even start with me. Don't even start.
See everybody next Tuesday night.